because of the shortages in the supply, which we've covered before on your stream, there's like we're basically at the lowest levels of ETH on exchanges since 2015. Like it's almost like at all-time lows. And to also complement this analysis and just kind of give you guys like the 2 to 5 year picture outlook, ultrasound money shows you like the inflation metrics for ETH. And if you put it on a global time, let's say I'll go global, I'll give you the Bitcoin as well. And let me get it nice and big. All right,
that's what she said.
That's right. So the white line here, this is ETH proof of work. So this is if from the date of the merge, if you never got, the merge, right? ETH inflation would be up here at 3.1% per year. But instead, you got the merge, and so then what you do is you take away the inflation rate, and now you have a dynamic inflation rate, and that's this blue line, and it's coming in at less than Bitcoin's inflation rate. And this is because when the network gets really active, it deletes coins. Right. And when the network is not a lot of activity going on, it inflates slightly. Obviously, you can see here it's 0.8%, 0.87% per year. So in terms of new coins getting minted, it's like less than 1 million per year right now. So super low inflation and shortage of supply on exchanges. And then you'd have to take one more look into like the DeFi sector and find out where all this 120 million Ethereum really is. It's scattered across like dozens of layer 1s and layer 2s and locked away in liquidity pools. And I mean, it's really is like the oil of DeFi, the oil of blockchain technology right now. It's where all chains source their liquidity from. And so this sets up nicely for a shortage of supply. And so even if we get the downside short term, it's gonna bottom out and we'll go higher into the end of the year, I think. And maybe we can stop there and then let you guys have a go at it.
Well, that makes a lot of I think that would make a lot of sense. Like even retesting those lows there, and the greater market. I mean, they'll kind of panic if that happens, and everybody that's currently calling for the death of ETH right now, which I can't believe is still happening, but it is. Once a maxi, always a maxi, I guess. But I mean, if we see it go down to that 2,800 range, I think people are going to panic. But I'm with you. Yeah. I mean, and looking at that time frame, I mean, a lot of people have kind of looked at this fall as the next real bullish period. I mean, I know even as soon as August, things starting to perk up. But I mean, really, October, November, I think we were talking about that when you did pop on last time. But looking at those 2 months in the fall in the U.S. and of course, it's coincide. People will assign different stories to it, but it coincides with the election and things, which is in November. But yeah, is that when you're kind of looking for like, will BTC maybe get to new all-time highs again? And, more importantly, we're talking about ETH. Where would we see ETH at that time? And I guess, like, do you think that ETH makes a new all-time high still this year? Or do we start to just see it, perk up, have bullish action? I mean, we're only 4,800 or whatever is the all-time high. So I guess, yeah, what's your kind of timeline for that through the end of this year?
Yeah, I think, so just a quick time frame analysis from this ranging period here, where it took us, to break this high, it took about 280 days. I think I just counted. And so 280 days into the future puts us at the end of November. So, I mean, yeah, I think that this is going to set up nicely for a breakout by then. Of course, it does feel that way to me. Pending, the base case being that the stock market has higher to go. And we don't get a cut in rates earlier. But if all that stays on track, then yeah, I easily see ETH hitting 5,000-6,000, and it could go as high as 8,000 this year even. But especially and so 5,000 in a rejection sounds a lot nicer in terms of like predictability. Yeah. But yeah, definitely gonna. I kind of like that ETH is taking its time. Consolidating at these ranges and then building up and then running out of supply. It feels a little more like it has a cadence to it. Mm-hmm. But I think the real sauce anyways to kind of finish off on Ethereum here is because we're reliant on that impulse chain for price performance. I think the real message here is this, and I think I had it on a monthly. Let me just double check. Yeah, so if we look at the Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. So this is Ethereum priced in Bitcoin. I'm sure you guys are familiar. And we look at these indicator panels. This stochastic RSI here in the middle. I'll push it up one. Okay, so this panel here, anytime that you get a bull cross and then a cross of the orange line above the 20 line, then that's usually signals momentum enters the market. And you can see when this happened 5 years ago, that started our parabolic move where ETH actually began to overperform Bitcoin for an extended period of time. And if you notice, what did we just get? We got, well, in last cycle, we got the first bull cross here, and then we got the fake out, and it faked out on the stochastic, and then it did it again and confirmed and went. So where are we at here is, you know, number one, number two, we had our first one, and then the fake out, we're going our second one. Orange line's above the 20 line, so momentum is now entering the market on the ETH BTC ratio on the monthly. So assuming we're in the same place as we were 5 years ago, we're getting ready for this move. And if you draw a fractal on that, not that it has to play out in the same way, but if you were to, this is kind of what you get out of the whole thing, is that we'd be seeing ETH peak next end of next year or in 2026 actually. So it's the perfect setup on the technicals. I mean, you can see it here in the stochastic. You could see it in the MACD, like you got the bottom here. This, all that has to happen is this red RSI line just has to reverse at or above where it bottomed at 40. And it's funny because look at how true it is, just pure. You get that first bottom, and then now this is coming in for the second bottom and a bounce on the RSI, and then we start to work our way through the mid bands of this. It's like this is a combination of like a Bollinger Band meets RSI. Once you get above the midline, it goes green, and that's when momentum's on your side. So right. ETH has some work to do to get through these bands, but once it does, it's clear skies.
So what's the likelihood? We kind of talked about this a little bit last week. Whenever, like, right, I think it was a little bit after you got booted off there. But what is the likelihood of a flippening, and what kind of ratio would ETH have to be? Like you said, that high was like 0.11. Is there an easy way to figure that out?
This site gives us an idea. It doesn't need much. So right here is the level. I don't know if it says the actual. It says it only needs like a 1x, I think. So a doubling would get us there. But I mean, you're talking about market cap, yeah?
Right.
Let's see here.
Because I know Bitcoin, although it's still inflationary,
it looks right like now like a 3x, because like we got 400 million market cap. Bitcoin's at 1.3. Yeah. How much does 400 go into that? 400 divided by 1289, 31%. Yeah, we need like a 3x to flip it. So in ETH BTC ratio, I mean, it's up there, guys. We'd have to make new all-time highs.
Yeah, for sure.
It would be right. Actually, it's right at the all-time high. See that?
And that's without Bitcoin going up too.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, that's interesting, because I don't know if we need to see that obviously we don't need to see that, but it would be, I think what you do is if that were to happen, doesn't that imply that the world figured out that ETH is more valuable, that the world figured out that you can actually build stuff on it?
That was my point.
Yeah. I see where you're going.
I mean, it would be the acid trip of all acid trips for people that have been invested in this market.
Well, the sailors of the world would just be like,
yeah.
I mean, it logically makes sense that ETH should be worth more than Bitcoin at some point, and it's just a matter of when, I think.
Right.
Especially if they get if they make it even a better utility, right? If they can bring the costs down, then you have an even more powerful network with shitloads of liquidity. Be interesting to see. I have a hard time with answering that question, because I just don't know. I don't know if the world's going to get smart in that amount of time. I don't know. I wish I did, but I guess my bet is on Paul's chain, which is that in any event, Ethereum does get way more adopted from here.
Sure.
Definitely. Yeah.
I just didn't know if there was a set ratio, or not, like I said,
it would be 0.11 It'd be
Yeah, is that-
0.153 of a Bitcoin.
Okay.
That's it.
So we
And
need
that
a-
allows for Bitcoin's change as well, right?
No, that means Bitcoin stays at this price and ETH goes to 3,500 times 3, so 7,000. Like
Gotcha.
little, it would be close to 10K, right?
11K or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Seems
you
a bit
just
steep.
yeah, exactly.
Nobody wants to pay that for ETH right now.
Right.
Yeah.
But sometimes the market doesn't care and won't let that. That's just it. Is like, do you guys remember the feeling of Hex at 50 cents and how disgusting it felt, and how little amount of units you'd get? It was hard to buy up there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I made it pretty easy. I made a couple buys.
You did, you?
I
bought
didn't buy it. I didn't buy it at the top.
Hey, but here's the thing: is like I bought at 42, and then it went higher, but I didn't sell. That was the problem.
Right.
Anyway, just funny because at that point you're thinking to yourself, oh, it's going to go to $1. Oh, it's going to go to, because when you're really in euphoria and price discovery, every target seems like you can hit it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I mean, everybody, I remember distinctly me and Ewok hanging out at a campfire talking about, and we weren't alone. I mean, many people were like, I think this was in September. I think it was basically at the top. We were talking about like $1 Hex by the end of the year or something like that when we were, hovering around 50 cents. So yeah.